gentlemen. I would like to start. I'll give a short introduction. My name is Sten Karelsen. I am head of development with NSI, and we are very happy to join Real Estate Futureproof by hosting this roundtable, where we'll discuss the topic of space as a service. And while the real estate industry is changing rapidly nowadays, and the climate has become even more important. Within NSI, space as a service is the key topic in our daily business and in the decision that we make. I'm therefore very happy to introduce my guests at this roundtable today that are all pioneers and frontrunners when it comes to space as a service. Also, welcome to all the people that have joined us in this discussion. It's possible to ask questions. If you have any, then I will try to also ask them to the guests. Please a warm welcome to Anthony Slumbers. We'll recognize the speaker and industry influencer in the prop tech industry. Nicolaas Waning, Global Head of Real Estate Strategy and Portfolio Management within ING. Welcome, Nicolaas. And Matthijs, welcome to you as well, partner at DIT Office Maker, designer and office maker. We're going to discuss the topic of space as a service, but before we do so, Anthony, you already announced, please, can you take us through the latest trends of space as a service and what you see as will become more and more important in the future?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. When considering trends in the space as a service market, it is vital to differentiate the short from the medium and long term. The current situation we are living through is clearly abnormal. How it is today is not how it will be long term. One way or another, we will not be living as we are now, very much under the dark cloud that is COVID-19. So, whilst the space as a service market is very challenging today, we need to think what will be different in the future as a consequence of what we are going through. And two areas stand out. The first is that people have realized that outside their homes, the built environment can be scary, dangerous, and unsafe. The offices where they never gave much thought to the air that they were breathing might be where they catch a disease. And secondly, along with their employers, employees have realized that maybe they do not even need an office to do their work. Since being locked away at home, office work has largely got done all around the world. And these two trends are exactly why, though it may not immediately look like it, space as a service as a concept has been turbocharged by the pandemic and is set to be a larger part of the office market than was anticipated 6 months ago. It is also likely to become so many years earlier than expected. This is because sustainability, health and well-being, flexibility and productivity are the essence of what space as a service is about. Space as a service is about providing the customer with the spaces and the services they need to be able to do whatever it is they need to do in the most efficient and effective way possible. And to do that, you need to be able to do three things. First, you need to understand how well your building is performing in terms of maintaining exceptional environmental conditions, with indoor air quality at the heart of this. Secondly, how your building is being used by customers. How is it being occupied and utilized? And thirdly, exactly what is it that your customers are wishing to do? What are their wants, needs, and desires? Now that so many companies have discovered that work really can be done anywhere, they are going to be re-evaluating what the purpose of their offices are. And they will conclude that they are for what cannot be done at home. So teamwork, collaboration, training, mentoring, developing corporate culture, and socializing. Yes, human work done with other humans. And that needs to be done in spaces that catalyze human skills, that are designed for this specific purpose. And we know this is what most people do, roughly 40 to 60% of their working week. The rest is individual focus work, and that can be done somewhere else. This has become clear in a way that may have taken years to happen, but it has happened in months. The future of offices is now clear. Sustainable, flexible places that are designed to look after customers' health and well-being, that are operated in an intensely human-centric way that enables people to be as effective and productive as they can be. The fact that people are questioning whether offices are even needed, as we could all operate remotely, is actually just emphasizing why space as a service is so important. To survive and thrive, offices need a clear, definable value proposition. The pandemic has just clarified what we already knew. So in terms of space as a service trends, expect to see more flexible working with people working from a network of alternative spaces, not just from home, a much stronger focus on environmental conditions, especially indoor air quality, more real-time capturing of quantitative data, regular surveying of qualitative data, much more attention on workplace design and adaptability, and a heightened focus on quality rather than quantity of space. It is very likely companies will be taking less space, but just as likely that they will pay considerably more for the space that they do take, so long as it comes with the full range of hardware, software, and services that enables a modern, productive workforce. So space as a service was often looked upon as a niche, a subset of the traditional office. My feeling is that this is being reversed and traditional space will become the niche, because ultimately we are all after a service, not a product.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Clear message to all of us. And maybe a question to you, Nicolas, hearing this narration from Anthony. If we talk about space as a service, and we offer space as a service, we need to understand the value proposition of the office. In your opinion, what should an office offer as an end user, and what do you need as a company to be as efficient and productive as possible? Because that is what we are talking about space as a service.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me all right? Yep. Okay. Well, I must say that everything Anthony just said, or almost everything, is music to my ears, and it's been our philosophy for the last couple of years, and you can see that in all the new buildings that we have moved in and that we are moving in the last couple of years and will be in the next coming years. They all have that I just wrote down the word teamwork, collaboration. That is key to what ING does, and that should be possible to the maximum extent in our offices. So if you look at our new global headquarters Cedar building, but also in the other buildings in the campus in Amsterdam and across the world, in Madrid, we're moving next month into a new building. They all have that same kind of layout with big floor plates and big, connectivity with staircases and all of that, which is crucial for our employees to work together, to collaborate. It's not being in isolated towers anymore, in separate rooms. It doesn't mean that we have massive open spaces. It's not that we do break the space into pieces so that it's still possible to do quiet work and to concentrate. We even have libraries and dedicated spaces for that. But at the same time, collaboration is the key word in all of our buildings and has been for the last couple of years. And it's also very much tied to the way we do business, which is the agile way of working. It has been the mantra within ING for the last couple of years. And you see that literally translated into the physicalities of the buildings. Mm-hmm. So they are made for agile way of working.
Thank you. I think really also the Cedar building is a beautiful example of the new way that the people are working, also attractive for people to go to work. And I think ING is one of the front runners as well when it comes to space as a service, offering their employees. Maybe a question to you, Matthijs. What do you see a change in customer needs? Nicolas just gave an example of how things are changing within ING. What do you, as a designer and office maker, see happening in the market? Do you see any changes, or are we now all captured by the COVID-19 virus, and is this maybe a temporary thing?
No, I don't think it's temporary. But on the other hand, I do not think for now it will affect the entire market. There's people that are already adapting. Anthony gave examples. ING is adapting, but there's still, even after the crisis, a lot of conservative managers. It's not only the users and the people actually using the space and being productive there. It's also the managers, and I think that as Anthony said, there's a huge step forward, and it really made things go faster. Changes will go faster, and I think that a huge gain is the fact that being forced to have everybody working at home solved a big trust issue. Because I think that a lot of traditional managers just think, oh, I want to see everybody in the office at 8 o'clock, want them to leave somewhere between 5 or 6, or even if they leave at 7, they're working even better. And the fact that they were just confronted with the fact that everybody had to work at home, I solved a lot of trust issues. But still, we see a lot of companies think that they solved the problem of working in the new reality with stickers. And not with changing actual office spaces and really making office spaces better. And I heard agile working. We use a lot of the term activity-based working, where you just look at what are people actually doing in the office space and how can you cater to those activities and make sure that they feel at home and are being productive, because nobody does the same thing over and over again each day. Because that's not a reason to go for an office, as Anthony explained. So a new term that I understood these last couple of weeks was a mixed presence office. So it's not only based on how you work in the office, but also caters to the fact that not everybody is there anymore all the time. So a lot more facilities in communication. So such as we are now, talking to each other. We have an open discussion, but thanks to digital aids and good internet solutions, which will be a challenge for a lot of buildings, but also good presentation skills and also hosted in a good way, that you also look not only at the physical office, but also on the online office. And maybe looking at your backgrounds, we have to start a service where we also design your online office. So the scope of our work will become bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's becoming more, I totally agree. It's becoming more important, both digitally and physically. And if you work with your clients that have different needs that are changing, and how do you know how your customers work, and how do you ensure that the concept that you design, that they also match the needs of your clients? Because I think that's also the key element of making spot on space as a service.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that there's a difference between service and facilitating work. But facilitating work in the best way can be part of the service of the building or the employer. And what we do is we investigate a lot. You can, in general, say that people who do finance do it in such and such a way, and they need these and these kinds of facilities. But we really need to go into depth with organizations, with teams, to really understand how they work. And we call that workplace consulting. It's not something that we invented. It has been there for a long while, but you need to understand how a department functions, how the people in that department function, and with which other departments do they cooperate and in what way. And do they need big office spaces? Do they need small? Do they need small meeting rooms? A common mistake of the past years was a manager telling what kind of meeting spaces they needed. And most meeting spaces were made based on the largest meetings that were hosted in a office.
Yeah.
And what you see now is that these office spaces are used by 2 or 3 people just collaborating, having a call, having a Zoom meeting, or working on a document. So you see a change in a large amount of small meeting spaces, concentration spaces, which may move to the home environment. And you just have to understand how a company works. And even within a finance department, not everybody works the same way. Some people like music, some people like concentration. So it's not one size fits all. So it's a very specialized work.
Yeah. We have a question coming in from one of our guests also. Question is, that is space as service, is it about the spaces or about the quality of data to have the building adapt to of the well-being of the user? How do you see that? Maybe a question to Anthony.
Both. The whole point is absolutely both. You have to start to think about the workplace as software. So I run software companies for 20 odd years. The first thing you know when you move into the software industry is you get told what we do here is build, measure, learn. Build, measure, learn. In the real estate industry, traditionally we stopped at build. We build something, we never measure, never learn, and it's static. So for one moment in time, it's often absolutely perfect. The whole point about space as a service is that I have to, if I'm operating your space, I have to understand exactly what it is you need, what type of meeting rooms you need, what literally do you do, and how does that change over time, and continually reconfigure and optimize the spaces until they're absolutely right for you. So it's very much a build, measure, learn process, and a human plus machine process as well.
Yeah, and it could also help you do your work better in the future. For instance, bringing sensors into meeting rooms that you design for 4 people, but you always see that they're just used by 2. Then you can make that space, divide that space into 2, and have a more adaptable meeting space. So we're also looking at more flexible, more modular types of furniture to adapt and improve.
Smart building technology definitely helps there to have sensors, and because we, of course, traditionally you send out questionnaires to understand people's behaviors, but there's nothing better than measuring, right? And that's what we're using more and more as well.
Yeah, that's also maybe interesting question. If you talk about all these measurements, data. Where's what's the distinction between the end user and, let's say, the landlord, the investor? What is the role of the owner in fulfilling the user's needs? Is there a split to be made? Should it be a joint effort?
Well, this is a very interesting point. The role of the operator of space is going up in value very, very dramatically. Just owning the space is actually going down in value. The most important cog in the wheel is how and who operates that space. Who has the relation with the customer? Now, of course, that might be the landlord, or it might be an operator, or it could be the property management company. It could be any number of people. It's undecided at the moment. But I would certainly advise any landlord that if they do not want to do that role themselves, to find themselves a partner that they can work very closely with and align their interests so that jointly they are focusing on the needs of the customer, because you really do not want to lose that connection with your customer. The more you lose that connection with your customer, the less value you have going forward.
Yeah. So getting to know your customer even better than before, it's becoming more important, and also taking that responsibility together, also maybe investing together, important for the future.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would say that if you also benchmark that to the hotel industry, There are situations where a hotel operator is not the owner of the building, but there are more examples where there's a connection. And there you also see if you as a landlord choose a high-end brand to operate your building, the prices made for the operation paid by guests are higher. And the more higher or the better the concept that operates your building, the more it caters to specific needs of the users. So a 5-star hotel would even give you your own pillow. So maybe a 5-star office space would even give you your own chair, for instance. So I think that if you benchmark there, that you can see that there's profitability, because a 5-star hotel is profitable, not in this market, but normally it is. There's profitability in being a high-end service provider and catering to specific needs of your clients. So it works.
So we could maybe also learn from the hotel industry. Because I think it's always nice and interesting to have a broader perspective, and that's maybe also to you, Anthony, with your, let's say, international perspective. Do you think that the Dutch are pioneers in remote work, and are we front runners in space as a service, or should we look at what's happening abroad and should learn from what's happening over there?
Well, funny enough, the Dutch are probably ahead of anyone. In the US, roughly 4% of people work predominantly from home. In the UK, it's about 5% of people. Actually, in the Netherlands, it's already 14%. And if you look at certainly, I do a lot of work in the Netherlands, because it's a market that is very interested in this area and has a strong crossover between the technology and the human side of things. One thing I'd just like to add about knowing your customer: it's not just top end of the market. You can have perfect product market fit at the bottom end. It's like there's really good operators of budget hotels and there's really good operators of luxury hotels. It's a case of deciding who your customer is and who do you want to work with and who do you best understand. So it can be at any level. It just needs to be really focused on the market you're after. But I would say in terms of the Netherlands, you have a very strong background in all this. And ING have been doing fantastic buildings for many years. They're a fun leader in this. So you're certainly well in the right direction.
Talking about products, we also have a question coming in that looking at space as service and linked to hotel expectations we just discussed. Is it also about interesting to see? Does it also apply for the future of housing? I mean, we're talking about offices, talking about hotels. It's getting more and more, I think, mixed. But how do we see the role of housing in this? Maybe Matthijs.
Yeah, what you see, and that's starting now in the Netherlands, but it has been available in London and New York, is that houses, big apartment complexes are made also with shared services already. So if you live in a big city, you often go out for eating, you order in, you don't need a big kitchen. But sometimes you want to entertain your family, so that then in the apartment building there is a space that you can rent with a bigger kitchen and a bigger dining table, and you can just use the stuff that you need. So I think that in all markets, the idea of sharing and having more services, but focusing your own property just to your basic needs is developing throughout the entire real estate business, and not only offices or hotels, but also housing.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, we're already almost 25 minutes in this discussion, and unfortunately we have a strict end to this discussion. So I would like to conclude. Thank you for joining us in this very inspiring roundtable discussion. I think we can continue maybe afterwards and discuss this more in the future. Thank you, Anthony, for taking us through the world of space as a service in a more broader sense. Nicolas and Matthijs, you as well. Thank you very much. For now, I would like to thank also all the people that joined us. And well, there's a beautiful future lying in front of us, challenging future. And well, For now, I would like to say goodbye to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
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 Bye.